Haki has way more pros to it than devil fruits do and can give you more power, and that's just me being objective when you look at it. But that's really only if someone can use it, and most of the time you're probably gonna need conquerors to do it. Plus, it's way easier to just eat some random fruit and gain powers that can level entire islands in some cases than spend years training and fighting hoping that you don't die before the first time you're able to take a bullet to the gut or clearly predict your opponent's attacks. Which is why each of them have their own pros and cons. Eating a devil fruit is like the world's shittiest lottery. You find one, you win, but you don't know how much money you're gonna win, and unless someone tells you, most of the time you have no idea what power you're gonna get, and you could very well end up with a pretty shitty one. Now, you can't swim, which would be okay if you didn't live on a boat in the ocean. And I know most people are just gonna say, oh, just avoid the ocean, but we're talking about pirates in the One Piece world here, guys. Haki, on the other hand, is only really powerful when someone has the color of the Supreme King, aka Conqueror's Haki. I mean, yeah, basic armament and observation will get you through for the Marines in the East Blue and for the first half of the Grand Line for sure, just like a devil fruit would. But as soon as you hit the new world, my boy, all that shit goes out the window. Remember, Kid wasn't even in Kaido's territory, and he just pulled up, beat that boy, and threw him in jail like he was the cops, bro. And this happens all the time in the new world. There ain't even gonna be an emperor. You're always at risk of someone pulling up and putting you to permanent rest, which is why when you get to the new world, it doesn't matter anymore. You need to start training and get stronger somehow. And I'm gonna mainly focus on the new world in this video because that's where you'd have to be to find the One Piece. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe, guys. And also, spoiler alert from this point on. Essentially, what gives Haki the ability to rise above all else is because it's limitless. Now, what do I mean by that? Law was able to nullify Doc Q's abilities with his Haki because strong Haki can nullify devil fruit powers. But in the face of Kaido, Bro couldn't even use his own. The disparity between them is incalculable because you can't quantify how strong someone's Haki is. Because Haki isn't a limited power source like most of these other anime power systems like chakra or cursed energy. As long as you can move, you can use your Haki. But of course, everything isn't that simple. Notice I said as long as you can move. Using your Haki a lot has been shown to place a lot of stress on the physical body, and when you push it to your limits, it'll make you pass out. And that's because Haki is directly tied to willpower. You have to believe that you're not gonna lose to an absolute and trust yourself and your own power. Like Rayleigh said, there's power in never doubting, but that doesn't mean it's still not gonna drain your stamina and energy. After you do a bunch of homework or something that requires a lot of focus and you've been at it for hours, even though physically you weren't doing anything, you still feel fatigued and tired. Now imagine that plus actively being involved in a fight and getting injured while you're focusing that intensely. That's why I said as long as you're standing, Haki places an immense burden on the physical body, especially if you're pushing yourself to the limits that you've never pushed before. It's limitless because the strength of Haki depends on the user, and the more you fight and win, especially against powerful opponents, is the stronger your own Haki will start to become. That's why after fighting someone like Kaido, Law was able to effectively use his Haki. And when you get into the more advanced forms of Haki, it's literally ridiculous what they can do. Seeing into the future and being able to damage someone internally without having to touch them is insanely broken. And then when you throw Conqueror's Haki into the mix, shit literally hits the fan for any devil fruit user. Because if you have stronger Haki than them, they're literally cooked. Devil fruit powers don't work on people with stronger Haki, and if they do, it's to a much lesser extent. Now of course we have people like Luffy and Kaido who have both devil fruits and Conqueror's Haki, so that's just unfair. But most people either rely on their devil fruit like Kid, and their Haki is nowhere strong enough to do damage because the person they're fighting is just so physically stronger, which is why physical strength plays a massive role with the effectiveness of Haki. People like Shanks, Zoro, and Gap who are fighting purely off their own physical attributes with no enhancements, and yes, I know Zoro and Shanks use weapons, but you still gotta be strong enough to hit and do damage. Haki just amplifies the damage that they do, which is why the stronger you get, the stronger your Haki will get as well. And also, devil fruits are finite with their power for the most part. Yes, they definitely give you a starting buff, but after that, you need to be physically strong enough on your own. Luffy trained for years to be able to use his powers the way he does, and then train some more just to learn Haki and become proficient with it. Eating a devil fruit gives a buff for sure, but that power then has to be molded, because yeah, the power is finite, but you could become very good with it, like Dofi using his strings. The string fruit on his own is garbage, but Dofi got so good with using that fruit, it was honestly ridiculous. Like, bro was making string clones. Not everyone is going to be as creative and dedicated as Luffy and Dofi, just like not everyone is going to be born with Conqueror's Haki. But if I had to choose one, it would definitely be Conqueror's Haki all the way, bro. Like, Luffy was able to make 50,000 fishmen pass out and eventually graduated to splitting the skies. And with Conqueror's Haki, the advanced form allows you to quote your attacks with Conqueror's Haki. The thing that makes weak people pass out by simply being in your presence, you can coach your attacks in it and hit people, and it really doesn't matter how strong you think you are. If you have never encountered that in your life, bro, you are being one-tapped. I mean, Oda basically confirmed this stars. And if you're strong enough to do that with your Conquerors, your Haki's already at a crazy level, and that's why only Haki can transcend all. It can literally make Devil Fruit powers useless, level the playing field between you and your opponent, and after what Gab did to Hachinsu this weekend, I think it's very apparent at just how strong someone with Conqueror's Haki can get. And only Conqueror's Haki can take you to that level of power. Sure, the raw destructive force that Devil Fruits have are superior, but it doesn't matter how much destruction you cause if you can't beat the person that you're fighting. But anyway, guys, let me know what you all think about this video in the comments, and make sure and like and subscribe to the video. They've got more videos coming out, so hit that little bell and so you can get the notifications when I drop. Anyway, see you guys. Peace out.